Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. We're reacting to Erik ten Hag's press conference for the game against Real Betis, but also Marcus Rashford in the interview. And all I'm going to say is, wow, to coin a phrase from Ben Foster, wow, that was absolutely incredible. Look, I've always been impressed with Marcus Rashford as a player, as you'll know, over the years. I know he had that dip and we called it out, but I want to see him more in those press conferences. I tell you what, I know Marcus Rashford's got a brand, and I know that he does very well with his brand, but you can hide behind a brand and still be very successful. That doesn't mean you're going to be brilliant in press conference. I thought that was a fantastic press conference. Set the tone by Adam, who asked a very good question from the United Stand. You might have heard it, but we'll get into that. But look, I think the one thing I would say, I would landscape this as this. There is no way that we're moving past losing to Liverpool 7-0. I don't think Rashford is. I don't think Ten Hag is. I don't think any of the players are. He was asked about the captaincy, Ten Hag. Rashford was asked about Bruno. But I think as a football club and as a fan base, what we don't want to do is do what's happening with Chelsea at the moment. I've seen certain Chelsea content creators going, sack Potter at the weekend, and now they're going to win the Champions League because they won last night. We've had 7 years of that. We've had up and down. And, it's been... Even though that's the worst defeat United have had in my life, I don't want to go down that road where we're saying sell this player, sack this manager, and I don't sense that in the fan base. So what we wanted and needed from Ten Hag and Rashford today was acknowledgement and what's going to happen now. And I felt that press conference is probably better than I thought it was going to be, because we've just lost 7-0 and they actually came out with stuff that actually makes me feel better, which I didn't think they would. So big applause to them, because they don't deserve much applause after what happened on Sunday. But even things like Ten Hag saying, look, we win together and we lose together. And what that means is, when he won his Manager of the Month award and Rashford won his Player of the Month award, Ten Hag said, these awards are nice, but we've won them together. When you lose 7-0, we lose. He was asked the question, did the players let you down on Sunday? Because you send the team out with the tactics and the team, but you're not on the pitch. Did the players let you down? And he could have said, look, at the end of the day, they didn't follow what I said. Some managers would do that. He didn't do that. He said, we lose together and we win together. And that, the players will hear that and go, it's only a little, but they'll go, that's my manager. Rashford was asked about Bruno Fernandes, and he said, I love playing with Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, I love playing with Bruno Fernandes because he's somebody that can see my runs and works well with me. He's a good leader. He's been a good leader when he's not the captain. He's a good leader as the captain. He's taught us that we all need to be leaders on the pitch. And from day one, that's what he's been like at this football club. It's that siege mentality that we need. Everybody needs to be on the same page here. Last season, we saw results like Liverpool. And last season, we saw leaks from the dressing room. We saw blame shifting. And I don't think we're going to see that this time, because there was a brilliant question that Adam asked Rashford, that it was basically like, he said to Marcus Rashford, you're a role model to so many young players. You had a really disappointing time last season. You've had a consistently top class season this season. How have you done that? And Rashford basically said, well, first of all, look, I wasn't 100% fit last year. I was 100% fit, which meant I had a really good summer training camp. And then there was a lot of change at the football club, and I came back giving it everything. It was really exciting with the new manager and what was going on, and I've not looked back since. And he says the team has developed and grown as well. In the past, we were capable of winning big games, but we sort of did it in a way where we were finding ways of doing it. Whereas this season, we're winning in the right way. We're doing it in a way that we want to play football. And I thought that was I thought it was a brilliant question by Adam. I mean, I'm not going to say that I helped him with it, but no, it was a brilliant question. And I thought it was a brilliant answer, because I think when you ask a good question and then you get them to go down avenues you weren't expecting, it's a good question. I mean, really, he could have just said, I was 100% fit, I worked hard, and that's why I'm doing well. But it wasn't. It was the acknowledgement of coming back to Old Trafford, Carrington in the summer, new manager, new players, new mentality, exciting. And I loved what he said about how the team could win big games before, and we did win big games. We did beat Man City, we did beat Liverpool in the past, But we had to do it in a different way because we had to find ways of beating them on the day, which is why we couldn't be consistent. Whereas this season, we've won big games and we're doing it in the way that we want to play. I thought that was really, really, really interesting, the way he said that. And I think that where we go from here is going to be the big thing for this team. And another thing that Rashford said as well is, and I liked this as well, we can't wait to play again. We can't wait to play tomorrow night because we're so disappointed with what happened on Sunday. But you know, we've got to go into that big game tomorrow, and I'm grateful we've got that game tomorrow. And we've got to look at the fact that we've got the game tomorrow as a positive, because that's because of the positive things we've done this season. And I thought that's a really intelligent way of thinking about it. And it's like the psychological. If the rest of the players are thinking like that, we spoke yesterday about the psychological side of football. That's a really clever way. And I don't know whether Ten Hag's told them that, but it's really clever, because if you think about it, the Liverpool loss is horrific, and the players are living with that mentally. And Rashford was asked about, did you give up? And he said, that's nonsense, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But if you think about it like this, you've just lost to Liverpool 7-0. You're devastated, you've let yourself down, you've let the team down, you let the fans down. Everyone's going in on you, right? Mentally, you're not in a good place. Your next game is Southampton at home a week later. You've got a whole week before you play Southampton to put things right. Oh, no, you haven't. You got a game against Betis on Thursday. Why have you got a game against Betis on Thursday? Because you went to the new camp and got a great result and deserved to win, and then you beat them at Old Trafford. Your positive football and success has given you a chance on Thursday instead of having to wait a week. Use that. You could see Rashford mentioning that, and that will probably go through the team as well, and it's right. The Liverpool result is disgusting, and we all know that. But let's not forget the positives of this season, and the reason we can play on Thursday and not have to wait till Sunday is because we knocked Barcelona out, which was a positive. And that's what you have to do. It's like falling off a horse. You fall off a horse, don't fall off a hearse, you'd be already dead. Unless why are you joyriding on the top of a hearse? Respect for the dead. But you fall off a horse, you bang your arse, you bang your elbow, whatever. Do you lie on the floor going, I've hurt my elbow? Or do you get back on the horse and go again? And look, I'm not moving away from the Liverpool loss. I don't think anybody is. But we can't do anything about it. We've got to go again, haven't we? Anyway, let's talk about what Ten Hag had to say. He said that I want to answer that question. Rashford really got some good questions, and he came out with some good answers. I was very impressed. But let's go to Erik Ten Hag. So basically, Ten Hag was asked the first question, and you know what? We didn't get any injury updates. We didn't get any injury updates, did we? I've just realised. I don't know why nobody asked the question about injuries for tomorrow, but we didn't. So unless that's come out separately, I haven't heard about that. But Ten Hag was asked a debrief after the game on Sunday. Were any conclusions from that? He said, look, conclusions were drawn from that game. We spoke about it. And we've got to reset and we've got to bounce back. I actually believe in this team for the first time. I trust Ten Hag and I trust the team finally, says Fez. I think that's really important, Fez. You know what? It's a throwaway comment, but you know people might not take it in. We're in a different place. We're in a different place. And I think that's why we've struggled. It's because we felt let down, but we want to believe in this team and we still do. That's the worst result we've had in my life, especially at Anfield and Liverpool. It's horrific. The reaction to that, I think the fan base deserves a lot of praise, because I think there was complete and utter shock and awe. Not awe. Shock and despair was the word on Sunday. And we've had to take it big time, and we still are taking it. But apart from the Bruno outrage, which was caused by one of our ex-players, let's be honest, and people just piling on unfairly, I think in general the fan base has not scapegoated anybody. They've not individualised it. We've took it on the chin. We're disappointed, but nobody is really going, I've lost faith. Nobody, even though it's the worst result we've had in 100 years or something like that, is it? Nearly 100 years? Nobody has thrown the towel in and gone, I'm done with those players. Nobody. And I think that's well, apart from the people who went in on Bruno, of course, but the majority haven't. And I think that's money in the bank for Ten Hag, but it's also money in the bank for the players. You know, I think Ten Hag would always be forgiven for that. Some of those players after last year probably wouldn't, but it shows you what they've done this season. And I think that's credit to the fan base, because it's very easy to be negative. It's very easy to lose your shit. And I don't think many people have. And look, Anthony was abysmal on Sunday. I've not really heard anything about it. Luke Shaw was abysmal. Not really heard too much about it. Martinez was abysmal. People haven't individualised it in the main. I think that's a credit. But these players and Ten Hag will know, and I think they'll appreciate your support. They'll know they've probably got off lightly, really, because the fans want to believe. They've got to repay that belief now, and I think they'll be ready to do that tomorrow. I can't wait. The question I've just spoken about was Ten Hag was asked a direct question. Did you feel let down by the players? And he said, no, we lose together and we win together. And, that's just the way it's going to be. He was asked about Bruno Fernandes and whether he's still his captain. And he said, yes, Bruno is definitely still my captain when Harry Maguire's not on the pitch. He's had a brilliant season. He gives energy to the team. He never stops running. He coaches the players. He's inspirational. No one's perfect, even myself. Ten Hag saying even he's not perfect. And we're really happy to have him as captain. And I think that is exactly the sort of response you would expect from Ten Hag. But I think he went further, didn't he? He didn't just say he's my captain, I'm really happy to have him. He actually identified why he's happy to have him, saying that, he's there coaching the players, he's, his energy he brings to the team, he's inspirational. So look, hopefully all that Bruno shit can stop now, because I think we can all have our opinion, but I think it also comes down to, look, when Harry Maguire got picked at the start of the season to play against Brentford and Brighton and Varane got benched, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't believe this. I didn't say Ten Hag out. I didn't say anything. I was like, I think he will end up playing Varane at some point. But Ten Hag is the manager. All these people saying, who are United fans saying, get rid of Bruno, he's shit, this, that and the other. Why don't you start saying Ten Hag out then as well? Because you're basically undermining your manager. He is our captain. He is important. It's very obvious and clear to me. But if you don't agree with that, why are you so positive about Ten Hag then? You're a bloody hypocrite. Like, get behind the players. Get behind what the manager wants to do. Or don't. But don't try and sit in a halfway house where I don't like Bruno. I don't like De Gea. I don't like Delo. Well, the manager does. Any Maguire questions from the press again, says Jack? I think that was probably one press conference where if you asked the Harry Maguire question, it really would have looked odd. Not to say he won't start tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see. Finally, some direct questions and honest answers. Never want a club legend near the club. The press too soft then, says DK. And I think you're right, DK. I mean, look, we've always reacted to the press conferences, and some of them have been brilliant. I thought Rangnick's ones last year were brilliant, even though the team was poor. But all we want is a bit of honesty. All we want is honesty. I think Solskjaer just would protect the Glazers, protect the club, and never really give you any honesty. Rangnick probably gave too much honesty and it cost him his job. And I think those Ten Hag and Rashford today both gave honesty. And I think the fans will respect that, because what we don't want to hear about is excuses. And I think we got honesty. I don't think anybody... And look, this was the big question. There's been lots of accusations that the players gave up in the second half against Liverpool. And Rashford was asked about that. Did you give up? And he said, that's nonsense. We didn't give up. Apologies on the pitch, not a presser, please, says Charlie. Well, that'll be tomorrow. He said, we didn't give up. If anything, we were trying too hard because we didn't organise. He said, and I love this because this is true. Like, he was on the pitch, and also it's not a PR answer because actually it makes total sense. He says, we didn't give up. We just were trying too hard and we didn't organise. We tried so hard that we lost our principles. We weren't connected. The attack wasn't connected with the midfield, and the midfield wasn't connected with the attack, with the defence. And we fell apart as a team. We lost our principles. We need to move. We need to learn, and we need to move on. But actually, it makes sense because what happened is it was gung-ho football, wasn't it? I was screaming at 7-0 that Liverpool were running at us with a 4 against 3, and they could have made it 8. And I think that's what Rashford's saying. It's like, it wasn't that we gave up. It's just that we all went off with our own ideas. We lost the core principles of the team, so that we lost disconnect. And at that level, against a team like Liverpool, they're going to rip you apart, and they did. I don't think he's making an excuse. I think he's just saying that, it was like a team of individuals doing what they wanted to do, what they thought they could do, and it just fell apart. We were not connected. The attack was pressing when the midfield wasn't, or the attack was leaving the midfield exposed, and it was all over the place. So look, whether you think they gave up or not, that's up to you. But that's the answer from Marcus Rashford. And obviously, he was asked about Bruno Fernandes, which I think I've already said. He says, I love playing with him, good leader. We all have to be leaders, and he's been a leader from the moment he came to the football club. I think, look, some people are going to be very angry, and they probably don't like Rashford or Ten Hag or whatever, or Bruno, and they won't like to listen to it. But I was very impressed with that, and I think that I think the questions were good. I thought the answers were even better. And Rashford was asked about how you bounce back from a game like that, and he said, look, the Liverpool game in itself is a very difficult game to analyse because its form goes out the window. It's a very special game when you play Liverpool. Personal form, team form goes out the window. It's a special game. At half-time, it could and maybe should have been different. He said, I had a chance from a Luke Shaw pass. If I score that, we're winning 1-0, probably at half-time, but I missed. And then in the second half, Liverpool took the game away from us in a very big way. We have to reset because we can't change it. And in the next game, we've got to give 100%. That's not that's not a player coming out and, loading out cliches or saying at the end of the day 4 times or, talking about, football's a game of missed chances and, we could have won the first half. It's a very honest assessment of what happened. The first half, I thought Luke Shaw, I think Luke Shaw probably symbolises that performance. I thought in the first half, Luke Shaw was probably our best player. Played really, really well. Second half, I think he'd have been subbed off for Torquay. He was dreadful. And it's a 90-minute game. We lost the second half 6-0. We probably should have won the first half 2-1. But we didn't. And, there we go. The best apology for me is for Ten Hag and the team to go on a minimum 7-game winning run, says Daniel Shabba. Yeah, and as I said, I think that the best, and I thought that was a good interview, and I thought it was a good press conference, but the best bit that I took from all of that was 2 things. One, Ten Hag saying that we lose together and we win together, and that's a very easy throwaway comment, but he actually, what I love about interviews and stuff is that if you watch them all and you remember them all, you can plant seeds that will flower for you later on. And Ten Hag's genius is, when he won that Manager of the Month award a few weeks ago, he said, I've got this because of the team. This award is for everybody because I wouldn't have, and Marcus wouldn't have his award if it wasn't for the team around him. So when he won something individually and Rashford won something individually, they acknowledged that the team had won that and we win together. Then when you lose like that, you come out and say, they didn't let me down. We let everybody down together because we lose together. And that's brilliant because the players will know that. They'll remember what he said about the award and they'll remember that. The fans will remember it. And that team thing is so important, and that's what's got us into this situation. And then Rashford saying that, we're grateful we've got this game on Thursday because that comes from the positives of this season. Yes, we've just been destroyed by Liverpool, but if we hadn't beaten Barcelona, we wouldn't have a game until Sunday and we'd have to wait longer. So don't forget why we've got a game tomorrow. I know it's felt like a month between Sunday and Thursday, but imagine how long it would have felt between Sunday and Sunday. And if we'd lost to Barcelona, we wouldn't be playing tomorrow. So there is a positive there that we beat Barcelona. We knocked them out over 2 legs, and that's why we get to play a game tomorrow. That is a positive from the positives of this season. Yes, Sunday was a huge negative. We're going to struggle to ever have a negative like that again. But Thursday's a chance to put things right because of the positive things we've done this season. And it's an opportunity to win another trophy. They've got to make it right, says Just Kevin. Of course they have. There was no questions about injuries, MKF. No, there wasn't. Charlie says, if we limp to a win against Southampton, teams will think they can have a go again. Just when we're starting to build some fear factor. We need to dismantle Southampton to let everyone know, says Charlie. I'm really keen to know the halftime talk that day where the team changed drastically, as we all witnessed, as Ronzi. And United should investigate the players, and the collapse at Anfield must have been masterminded, says Osbert. I hate when players apologise. Nobody should expect them to apologise. We look weaker in doing so. Let the apology be seen in the next result, says Ultra G. And Nathan, thank you very much. I think what I like at the moment, and I'll repeat it because I think it's really important, is that, look, the United stand's been going for a few years, and a lot of those years were based on no hope. Occasional wins that you knew were never going to grow into anything because we couldn't be consistent. Most of Solskjaer's wins were based on counter-attack football, which is not the way we want to play. Rashford basically said that in the interview. We could beat teams in the past, but it was in a way that we didn't really want to play. It wasn't sustainable. We're now beating teams in a way where we're growing into something we want to be. I think that's so important as a team. But as a fan base, I think that we've had so many years of roller coaster, manager in, manager out, player excitement, oh, they're shit. I used to call it the 3-year cycle, didn't I? You recruit a manager, everyone's excited, they spend money in the first summer, it looks promising for about 18 months, and then it gradually falls apart, they don't spend any money, the fans turn on the manager, the team gets crap, and then they're gone. And then you do it again. Van Gaal, Mourinho and Solskjaer were almost identical 3-year cycles, weren't they? And we as fans sort of got locked into that. First 18 months were positive and then 18 months of negativity. We don't want to go there again. And there's not been any reaction to Sunday that anybody wants or believes will end up going there again. It's just a devastatingly bad result. But I still think we're on track. Forget the ownership. I mean, that will help if we get the right ownership. But I think on the basic level of the fan, player, manager relationship, I still think it's ridiculously strong. I don't think the trust is gone, and I don't think the belief is gone. I just think there is a numbness shock that you're right. I think if the team can... Betis are a good team tomorrow. If we can beat them... Southampton, look, anybody in this league is capable. Southampton beat Chelsea a couple of weeks ago. So, win that, knock Betis out, knock Fulham out, international break, have a bit of a break, and then come back again. Win the next 4. That's what we've got to go and do. And then... Liverpool won't be a distant memory, but it will be in the rear window and we can keep looking forward. And that's what we need to do. And I think we can do that. But look, the challenge is for the players, the challenge is for Ten Hag. I'd love to have known what the injury status is because I think that will impact a lot. Southampton beat City away as well, says Jack. I didn't even remember that. If Varane's injured tomorrow and you bring Maguire in, and Casemiro's injured tomorrow and you bring McTominay in, and Luke Shaw's injured and Malacia comes in, and you start Weghorst, and suddenly that team's nowhere near as strong as it can be. I think tomorrow night we'll see a response, but I also think you've got to remember that if we had a disappointing result because we've got 3 or 4 key players injured, I still stand by this. Ten Hag didn't get backed in January when he needed to, and that squad isn't particularly strong. There's a lot of players there and there's a lot of wages there, but I don't think there's a lot of strength there. You lose a Varane, you lose a Casemiro, I think you're in trouble. You are in trouble because we don't have the drop-off. So I think tomorrow we will get a response, but let's not forget, when we lose 2 or 3 of our big players, we're not actually that good anyway. We saw that against West Ham last week. So we need a strong team out tomorrow, and then I think we'll see a response. But if we have to lose a couple of big players, it's very hard to have a strong response because I don't think we're as good a team. So I don't know what the update is with the injuries. It'll be very interesting because I know Ryan and Adam are at the training ground because it's an open session. It'll be very interesting. In fact, I'll drop them a message now and see who's training, because if Varane's not training, he won't be playing. If Casemiro's not training, he won't be playing. So we need them involved. Anyway, there we go. Fantastic press conference. Was very, very, very encouraged by it. Wouldn't say happy because I don't think we're in a happy state, but I was encouraged with it. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. I will speak to you all at 7 o'clock tonight. It's a 7 o'clock show. 7. And we'll have some training ground footage and stuff to come for you at about 4 o'clock as well. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you all in a bit.